Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. Welcome to the weekly playbook outlook for the week of December 5th to December 10th. Hope everybody's doing well and they're safe. I'm going to take a look at the upcoming week and what's shaping up in the futures, stocks, indices, and Forex market. All right, so taking a look, starting off as usual with the Australian dollar. This is in the futures, and as I've been showing for the past number of weeks, we've been in a downward spiral and still continuing. So the key thing here is that we broke through this support area, very strong support area here, and we sliced through like butter, and we're still heading down. So the next area of support is in this region. So it looks like we're going to be going through into that region next. So continued weakness for the Aussie, and you can see that we're still spiraling downwards. So any movements back up would just be opportunities to continue selling Aussie. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Go to the weekly and Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the weekly, I can do a similar thing. You can see that as I pointed out from last week, we were heading down after strong movements to the upside, but it looks like the pain is starting to set in and we're heading back down. So basically what we're doing is we're retracing this entire move. So we should be coming back down into this area here. This should be an area of volatility for a while. So I can even bring this down to this level, say. Okay, so dropping to the daily time frame, again, we are still, you can see quite a drop just off the opening today. We tanked considerably. So we're heading down into this previous support area next, and the overall structure is playing out just as I explained from last week that we would be seeing this falling through to lower prices. So look for Bitcoin down into the low 40s imminently. All right. Let's take a look at crude oil. So crude oil, and from last week, again, we had strong movements. I'm still expecting crude oil to continue back up, but of course, right now it's in a little bit of a dive, and it's reached the previous support area and areas that I pointed out from last week, that it could come down into this area and then down. If it broke that area, we're heading straight down. So it did come right back down to where it started, and now it's looking like it wants to start over again. So we could see this type of movement happening by the end of the week. So I don't foresee any further weakness, but if it does and we do break this low, then all bets are off and we're still heading further south. Okay, let's take a look at the US dollar. US dollar in a very strong move for a while. We're coming up into a previous resistance zone, so lots of strength here as it moves to the upside. And any pullbacks on this would, if I dropped to the 4-hour on this, would be opportunities to buy. But right now it looks pretty strong. We're just chopping up and heading to the upside. So unless something occurs that's dramatic that would drop this back down, it looks like we're going to chop to the upside back up into resistance areas up here. Okay, so a little bit of strength for the US dollar. Okay, let's take a look at Ethereum. Probably be the same as we looked at from last week, where it was still bogged in that sideways pattern, and it is. We're still stuck in that channel. It hasn't dropped like how Bitcoin has, so it's just kind of steady, but no entries for that one at this point. Taking a look at gold, let's go to the weekly on this one. Let me go to the monthly on this one first, because I just want to straighten something up here. Gold has been in quite a tear. from this area here. Oh, sorry about that. From this area here, we've had quite a push to the upside, and now we're in this area. So are we going to push out to the upside, or are we going to continue going down? Is the key question at this point. So we're up at a resistance. We broke through, got faked out, came back down, and we could come all the way back down into this area. So I'm thinking that price is going to come back down into this area before we continue back up. So looking at this on the weekly, I'll just make it a little clearer. Okay, so expecting price to come back down into this area here on the move down. Okay, so here's our main line of defense. We break through that and we're down into this area before we could see a turnaround occurring. So not looking for any big moves to the upside at this point. I'm just looking for continued weakness in gold. So dropping to the daily time frame, any moves to the upside here, and we could see, a little bit of a move to the upside. It could see that, but any moves to the upside, opportunities to sell into gold going back to the downside. Okay, so that's gold. Let's take a look at Litecoin. Sure, Litecoin on the weekly. Okay, so Litecoin, it's in a nosedive just like the Bitcoin is. So we're right at a previous support resistance area. You can see that clearly, and looking a little bit suspect now because we're breaching this very strong area here. So it looks like next line of defense is down here. So I could draw my rectangle into that area. So that would be something that we'd be looking to get to by the end of the week or thereabouts, if not earlier, because we're in quite a down spiral right now. Okay, let's take a look at the U.S., the Russell 2000. So Russell 2000, again, it came through quite an area here and is looking to break through down to the next level. So if that does that, then what we would expect is price to come back into this zone of support here. So that is totally possible. And looking at it from the weekly time frame or from the daily time frame, sorry, it's we have lots of support in here, but it's been quite a drop. So I'm kind of seeing we could get a bounce, of course, but any bounces would be opportunities to sell back into this weakness that has occurred. So be aware of that for the Dow, the same type of thing weekly. We looks like we've reached a peak and we're coming back down in gusto. But so any type of movements back to the upside. So you can see if I drew my area of support, we went right back into that area of support, but now it's looking like this little bounce is going to be short-lived and we're going to be heading back down again in short order. So any moves to the upside, opportunities to sell the Dow. Okay, and that will be the same thing for even the US technology group. If I go to the weekly, same type of thing. We reached a peak and now all bets are off. So the last time that we came up, we finished a structure and are now looking to complete that structure and come back down. So maybe a head and shoulders pattern is going to set up here, and then we're going to be on our way down in the long term, of course. But on the short term for this week, we're heading to the downside. Same type of dance as the other Dow and Russell 2000. We're heading down in a hurry. So any movements to the upside are opportunities to sell. So what's basically happening right now is that we're just retracing this move back down into these areas here. And that will be the same for the US 500. It will be the same pattern. And if I can get it to come up, It's thinking about it. There it is. So this one I've got marked up quite a bit. So we reached a peak. We've dropped down on the weekly, on the daily. We've come down. So looking at the retracement, I'm expecting a retracement back into around the 61.8%, 50 to 61.8% area. So it looks like we're going to be, again, same type of dance. We're heading down. Any moves to the upside, opportunities to sell into the rallies. Okay, before it was all, buy in the dips. Now it's going to be sell on the moves to the upside. Okay, sell on the peaks, as it were. Okay, and that's about it for all of these. I think I've taken a look at most of the major stuff, and the U.S. dollar, of course, for the members of the simple 123, the U.S. dollar, whatever the U.S. dollar does, if it's going up, we then want to look at selling Euro and Aussie and GBP and New Zealand against it, and we want to be buying the USD CAD, USD Swiss, USD JPY against it. All right, so profitable trading to everyone. Have a great week. Be safe. We're done now. Thank you.